here we have the Ridgid Jobmax. I originally purchased this in October of 2013. I put a video up of my unboxing of this Ridgid Jobmax, and here we are 3.5 years later, and I want to do a follow-up video on this thing and just the overall, my impression overall on this Ridgid tool. Right, this is their Jobmax can do multiple things. It has the control head that pops off. As I mentioned when I first bought this, I was not interested in buying any of the other heads for this, the jigsaw or the angle drill, and whatever else they offer for it. I wasn't interested in that. I wanted it as a sawing head, this oscillating saw, I guess is what you want to call it. So here we are 3.5 years later, and the tool has broken. That's why it prompted me to do this follow-up video, is that there's a piece in here that broke. Fortunately, I was able to buy the piece, and I have it here, and I'll show you what it's going to take to get this back on the road. I have hundreds of hours on this thing, and I don't even know, honestly, how to accurately estimate how many hours, but it's got to be hundreds. I'm going to put 3 hours on it today alone, and it gets used a lot. It gets used for what I'm doing today, which is digging out grout out of tile. I use it for cutting holes in sheetrock, which, again, that's not a challenge. I said this 3.5 years ago, and I stick by it. It's not a challenge for any of these multi-tools, multi-saws to dig through sheetrock. Sheetrock's like butter. I mean, you can do it with a butter knife. But I do a lot of trim wood with it. I don't use it to cut nails or pipe or anything metal, because that just kills these blades, and these blades aren't cheap. You know, blades like this are like, if you buy them, the Ridgid blades or even the Bosch blades, you know, they're well over $10. And I don't buy the Harbor Freight blades because they just don't last. But overall, 3.5 years later, I'm still very, very impressed with this tool. Up until today, the only thing I've replaced on this is this little rubber foot, this little rubber cap, I guess. It's like a rag joint in a steering assembly of a vehicle. It's a rubber cap that goes between the drive gear and whatever power head the receiving gear, and it acts kind of as a shock absorber, I suppose. Originally I had bought a couple. It came with one or two, and then I bought a couple extra ones, went on the interweb and got a couple extra ones. I still have 4 left from when I originally bought them. This is the second one, and this one looks like it's in pretty good shape. So up until today, that's all I've had to do it. All I've had to do is replace that, and other than that, the tool has a lot of power. The reversible feature of it doesn't make a difference for these saws. It just doesn't. The replaceable brushes will be nice eventually, although I don't have any reason to replace them at this time. I still really, really like the 2-fingered trigger. It has really reduced the hand fatigue when you use this for long periods of time. It's too bad it doesn't have a trigger lock, though, like a drill. You know, you get it to your throttle speed and press the button in, and then it holds it. But having to be able to get a couple fingers on there is really not too bad. The headlight's nice. As for the overall condition, this has fallen off a ladder a couple times, at least a 6-foot drop. That's what I consider to be falling off a ladder. Getting knocked off a countertop or off something doesn't really count, but it's taken a couple 6-foot+ foot falls onto the ground. Continues to operate. The head still feels tight. The bearings still feel tight. You see they are screwed in there, so I'm assuming they would be replaceable if I ever had to. The little rubber thing here has got a little rip on it, the little jacket. That just started recently. I just realized that was happening, and that's because there's in the casting there's a sharp edge here. There's a edge here. That's not really sharp, but obviously it was enough to kind of, maybe that's where I hold it. I'm not sure why it ripped on one side and not the other, but there is an edge to that casting. Other than that, it's in pretty good shape. The bag, like I mentioned originally, this bag is pretty useless at keeping things organized. You just kind of throw everything in there, and you know, it is what it is. But it takes up a lot less space than the hard case my Bosch had on it. These are by far my favorite blades. I got a few of the blunt plunge blades, but yeah, I like these because if you're making a long cut in something, you've got a bit of a blade here that helps you keep straight. You know, you use a plunger and you try to make more than a plunge cut with these things, and they tend to wave around a little bit because as they get warm they do move. But this one follows along in that curve, so when you're making a fresh cut it keeps it pretty straight. But let's take a look. Let me show you what broke on this thing, and this actually broke a few weeks ago. I just hadn't replaced it because honestly I wanted to make this video. I wanted to show you guys that I'm really still impressed for my $99 investment. This thing has paid for itself 15 times over at least. But here's what has been plaguing me the last few weeks. That exactly right there. The little adapter disc. Oh, did I lose a piece? Oh, no, there it is. It broke. I guess it just fatigued. Okay, that's it. That's the only thing that's broken on this. You kind of need it to run your blades. But the fun thing is that you can go to Home Depot, and Bosch sells a universal adapter, 76 cents at Home Depot. And yeah, I don't know if this is just pot metal. It's cheap pot metal. It's a universal adapter that you can use any brand blades on here. And 76 cents was such a good deal. I bought a second, so I have a spare. So we're going to throw the spare in there. But let me show you what it's going to involve to fix this. Yeah. That's it. Project solved. Actually, let's do this. Let us use, let's see, which one's in the best shape here. So I don't know if you can tell. The embedding, this has some kind of embedded crap in here. The crap is missing off that edge. I don't know if you can get a shine off of that versus the rest. So we're going to use this one. We're going to use that edge. Oh, it fits so nice. Let me drop this on. And my biggest beef on this Ridgid, and hopefully somebody from Ridgid will be listening to this, see if you guys can develop, I don't know if it's a patented thing, but being able to change blades without having to use a tool, that would be really nice, but it doesn't happen. So that's that. This can go in the garbage. That's my only beef. My only complaint is that you need to maintain an Allen wrench, and you can't just use it. So let's listen to it. Put my earphones on, man. We are going to rock out with our socks out, and we are going to dig some grout out. Ooh, I'm a poet. I didn't know it. Listen. I don't know if that's much louder than the original. I always wear earplugs when I use these things because these high-frequency tools that are by your face, I mean, they're close by on your work surface. I don't want to lose any more of my hearing than I already have, so I always wear earplugs, so I don't know if that's considered louder or softer than when I first got it. But overall, it's a good machine. I definitely recommend it for $100 at Home Depot. You can't really beat it. You can't. You can't. Okay, I got to get to work. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Got to go. Got to run. See ya.